Have you guys ever had a moment in your life where someone was leading you, like a coach or a teacher, a babysitter, and you thought to yourself, why is that guy in charge? Why is that person in charge of me? When I was a young youth pastor, we had this event every summer called the Guys Burger Tour, where we would go around to different places all over the city, try their favorite burger, and then have a Bible study. It was one of our favorite events to do during the summertime. One summer, we went to a place called Zombie Burger. Zombie Burger, right? You guys, they have a burger called the Walking Ched, which is a burger that has buns that are made out of deep fried macaroni and cheese. It's got brisket, it's got cheese on it, it's a burger. You need to eat it, it's delicious. We go to Zombie Burger, we eat one of these things, and it's incredible. We have a great Bible study, and we jump back on the bus, and I'm having so much fun that I didn't even really think, we need to count everybody. It's fine, everybody's on the bus, we'll head for home. They know to get on the bus, they're high school students, they can figure it out. We get on the bus, we're heading back, it's about a 10-minute drive to the church, and I get a call from one of my students named Luke. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, what is Luke doing? He's on the bus, he can just come forward or like shout from the back or something. And so I pick up the phone thinking it's a joke. Hey Luke, what's going on? You know, like giving him a hard time. And Luke says to me,
where's the bus?
Luke, being a distractible freshman boy, was lost in the Zombie Burger experience and didn't get back on the bus. And I, being a rookie youth pastor, didn't count the number of students on the bus, and I abandoned him in downtown Des Moines. This is like one of the top rules of being a youth pastor, guys. Tell people about Jesus and don't leave kids behind. We went back and got him, and it was fine. I don't think I ever told his parents, though. But I am pleased to tell you that thus far, I have not left a student behind at any of the events that I've done since then. But who knows? Maybe you'll be the next one. It's important for you to have someone that you can trust as your leader, right? It's important for you to know that your leader's got your back, they're gonna provide for you, they're gonna take care of you. In the Bible, when this interaction is discussed, talking about the relationship between followers and leaders, oftentimes the images of a shepherd and sheep are used. One of the reasons that that's the case is that many of the people that were reading these stories, that were hearing Jesus talk about what it looks like to follow him, would be familiar with the images of a shepherd and sheep. It's something they saw every day. It was common language to them. And so it's important for us to dive into this discussion of what makes a good leader, what makes a good shepherd. It's a big responsibility. If you are a follower of Jesus, you are in luck because Jesus gives us the best example of what a shepherd should look like, one that is worthy of following. We've been in this series called Thumbnail Verses, talking about some of these verses that we maybe know or have heard before, but we've only skimmed the surface of what they really mean. Sometimes we're totally off base of what they mean. This is one of those verses that we are going to click on the thumbnail and go a little bit deeper. I think it was one that you maybe have heard before, but there's something good in store for you tonight. So if you have your Bible, open up to Psalm 23. In my Bible, it's about right here. As you're getting there, you should know that the Psalms are actually a collection of songs. And anything that you've experienced in life, anything that you're going through, you can find a psalm that relates to that experience. Joy, frustration, something that you want to thank God for, a time in your life where you feel like God is really distant or far away, you can find a psalm that speaks to these things. Many of them were written by a guy named David, who was one of the most famous kings in Israel, like this one tonight. So let's read from Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, and I have all that I need. He lets me rest in green meadows. He leads me beside peaceful streams. He renews my strength, and he guides me along right paths, bringing honor to his name. Even when I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you are close beside me. Your rod and your staff protect and comfort me. You prepare a feast for me in the presence of my enemies. You honor me by anointing my head with oil. My cup overflows with blessings, and surely goodness and unfailing love will pursue me all the days of my life, and I will live in the house of the Lord forever. This is one of those verses that we could spend weeks looking at, but maybe you've heard it before. If you've ever been to a funeral, it's one of those verses that's often read during that time. Or maybe you've seen like a scene in a movie where people are like standing at a graveyard and there's like a dude with like a collar with the white thing right there reading these verses, and this guy's like thinking like, man, what am I gonna do? Well, this person's gone. I should have done some blah, 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 blah. You've probably heard this verse before and you equate it to something bad. You connect it to a place where there is no life, where there is no hope, where there is death. But if we go a little bit deeper into this verse, it actually points us to the greatest source of hope that we can find, the greatest source of life that we can find. As we look at this passage, we can see what a good shepherd looks like. Remember, David is writing this passage for us. He's using this imagery of a shepherd because it was something common to the people he was writing to. They'd understand what that relationship was supposed to look like. But it's also personal for David. David, before being king of Israel, before writing all the Psalms, before slaying a giant named Goliath by throwing a rock with a slingshot, knocking him down, David was a shepherd. He knew personally what a good shepherd should do, what being a good shepherd looked like. And we see that play out in the psalm. In verses 1, 2, and 5, we see that a good shepherd protects the flock. In verse 3, we see that a good shepherd guides the flock from dangers into a place where there's greater hope, greater life, that it provides a better opportunity for them. In verses 4 and 6, we see that a good shepherd provides for his flock, making sure that they have a way to move forward. The incredible thing about this passage, as we read what a good shepherd looks like, is that Jesus does all these things too. The main idea for us tonight is that Jesus is the best shepherd. Not just a good one, not just one that we can maybe like admire from a distance, or like a shepherd that has good philosophies that maybe we could aspire to at some point. Jesus is the best shepherd. Instead of this verse being one that reminds us of hopeless or lifeless things, this is a verse that points us to the greatest source of hope that we can find. The main hope that we have is because of what Jesus has done for us on the cross. He provided a way to God that we could not earn, that we don't deserve. He gives that to us. He provides that for us. Jesus guides us in the ways that we should live. If we look at Jesus, we see the best example for what life is supposed to look like. We can model our lives, our patterns of behavior, the way we think about things, the way we interact with other people by looking at Jesus. And Jesus protects us too, by creating an opportunity for us to be free from the consequence of sin, the eternal, like forever consequences of sin. Because of Jesus, he protects us from that. We're free from that. Jesus is the best shepherd. When we read these passages, we can remember what Jesus has done for us. And we can remember that when we follow Jesus, we can receive those good gifts too. So if Jesus is the best shepherd, then I think the logical thing for us to do is to be good sheep. And maybe you've never really thought about it before, like you've seen a sheep at the zoo or something and you don't really know what they do. But there are a few things that a good sheep does. The first is that a good sheep knows the shepherd's voice. That in fact, a shepherd can direct just by using their voice to guide them in different directions, what they need to know. For us students, that means that we need to get in this book. You need to know what the best shepherd's voice sounds like, and not rely on someone like me or something you see on TikTok to tell you what that is. You need to know for yourself. Because here's the thing, if you don't know the shepherd's voice, somebody that sounds similar can lead you somewhere different. That if we don't know the shepherd's voice, we can be led off track. We can be led in a direction that we don't want to go. We need to know the shepherd's voice for ourselves. The second thing is that we need to trust the shepherd. We can see in the Bible that there is clear direction for us about how we would interact with other people, how we would think about God, how we would care for ourselves and the world around us. There is clear direction in the Bible about how we would honor our parents, how we would choose our friends, what kind of characteristics we should try to live out. Like that means like how that we operate in relation to other people. We can look at those things But sometimes we can think that we know better. Sometimes we can think that maybe is that for me now, or do I need to worry about that? Do I need to actually turn the blind eye to enemies around me? Do I really need to care for the less fortunate? When the good shepherd, the best shepherd, gives us direction, we should trust it and we should do it. And then the last thing that we need to do if we want to be good sheep, and this is a weird one, so stick with me, is that we want to be a sheep from the front and a shepherd from the back. It's a weird image, right? Like you're probably, I'm giving you nightmare fuel a little bit, but stick with me here, because when we are living out our faith, when we are actively engaged in like the churchy word being the discipleship process, this is what it should look like. A friend of mine used this to explain what being a good follower of Jesus looks like. That we never arrive at a place where we're not a sheep. That we always need direction from Jesus. We always need guidance from Jesus. We always need to look to Jesus to move forward. That we should always be watching what the shepherd does. We should always be living in such a way that's following the shepherd. But the great thing about following Jesus, especially after a while, after you start to get some of those basics of faith, is that you have the opportunity, and in fact, we are called as followers of Jesus to invite others into the process, that you get to bring along friends or family members or somebody that you just met sitting next to you in math class that's going through a really difficult time in life, somebody on your soccer team, somebody that's in your karate class, whatever it is, you get to bring them along in this discipleship process. You get to shepherd them into a relationship with Jesus. It's one of the best things about being a follower of Jesus, is seeing someone go to a place where life is really hard to life is really good because of the hope that they have in Jesus. Jesus is the best shepherd. We can trust that he will provide for us, that he guides us, and that he protects us. So let's be good sheep. Let's know the shepherd's voice. Let's trust where he leads us. And let's be sheep from the front and shepherds from